The Pokemon Scarlet Teal Mask update has some of the hardest battles in the entire game. So, I wanted to test whether it was possible to beat this entire DLC playing as Ash Ketchum. That means using only Ash's Pokemon, and to make things even harder, using only the moves that Ash's Pokemon used in the anime. My two goals for this challenge are to try and catch all of Ash's Pokemon in their correct form, and use only those Pokemon to beat the Teal Mask. With limited Pokemon, limited moves, and a stack of extra rules to make things even spicier, could Ash Ketchum conquer Kitakami? Well, let's find out. We load in as Ash and head to the school where we meet Briar. She's from the Unova region, which would probably spark some PTSD for Ash because that's where Pikachu got nerfed back to level 1. After Jacques reveals that he too has been hitting on our mum, join the club, Briar shows us a page of the Scarlet book, which would be interesting if Ash could read. After taking a long flight, we arrive in Kitakami without any Pokemon. But that's about to change, as here we can find Corphish, one of Ash's funniest and most lovable Pokemon, who is going to serve as our starter for this challenge. However, despite being level 58, we can't evolve our Corphish into Crawdaunt since Ash never evolved his. And on top of that, we've only got access to these moves since I'm restricted to what Ash used in the anime. So, armed with 2 brain cells and 1 Corphish, Ash charged into Masui Town, where we're stopped by Kieran and Carmine. While Kieran seems really nice, and I'm sure that's never gonna change, Carmine, on the other hand, forces us into a battle. Her lead Poochyena isn't a problem, as Thorfish can wield its crab hammer to bonk that big puppy into submission. But Carmine's next Pokemon is a Poltergeist, and we instantly get one-shot by Giga Drain. Yep, we'd already lost. Although, getting clapped at the start of a season is very much like Ash. Despite the greatest trainer of all time being crushed by a literal teapot, we can still progress as we meet the caretaker. Did those 2 kids give you any grief? Yeah, they literally cooked my Corphish. There are a ton of Ash's Pokemon in Scarlet, but which of Ash's Pokemon do you most want to see return next? Let me know in the comments below. After witnessing this kid have a mental breakdown over fried noodles, our backup arrives and we get a tour of our hotel. This here is the lounge, where you can watch TV and turn that garbage propaganda off right now. After the caretaker generously gives us his stick, we pair up with Kieran for our field trip assignment and we seal our newfound friendship with a battle. And this is perfect, as now we can begin Corphish's redemption arc. After a crab hammer decimates his centret, Kieran only has a useless little Yanma. So Corphish can redeem himself by, and it's got Giga Drain. Ugh, I hate it here. Yes, we get to eat lobster again! Yay! Damn it, now even the unnamed NPCs are mocking me. However, our tradition of failing upwards continues, as we're still allowed to progress. And as much as I love Corphish, this man was getting cooked out there on the battlefield. I desperately needed some more team members, but there's only one Pokemon that I'm legally obligated to get first. While I had to go through a bunch of imposter mice first, eventually we found our Pikachu. After catching the cute yellow mouse, now we had Ash's iconic ace Pokemon. I slapped Ash's hat on it, and now our team size had doubled. But we weren't done yet, because there's a bunch more of Ash's Pokemon that we can get straight away. First, I found this Heracross, one of Ash's stranger Pokemon, and I was really excited to catch this beetle until it crushed my whole team. Here we go again. Needing to find something that wouldn't obliterate these two, I went back to hunting until I spotted this little Rockruff. And this is an awesome find, since Ash's Lycanroc is such a cool Pokemon, which is why it's such a shame that we can't evolve it. Since Rockruff can't get the Own Tempo ability in Kitakami, it's not possible to obtain Ash's Dusk form Lycanroc. So, while Rockruff will stay as a cute little puppy, the good news is that I found another Heracross, and this time we actually caught it. It's a strong Pokemon, but our moveset is very limiting, highlighting just how hard this challenge is going to be. Now our team was looking much better, and oh god, no, 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 no! The shiny owl is back! Thankfully, that's a demonic problem for later. For now, we press onwards until I found this Snorlax. Pokeball, go! Alright Ash, stay calm, and RPG, go! Okay, Snorlax, you win this round, but I'll be back. We're getting a real fun game ready. Come and play once the festival starts. Is the game Finding Ash's Dad? Because that sounds like a really cool game. Wow, you really have some issues. Of course I do. My mum is dating a Mr. Mime. Anyway, Kieran and I work together to track down the first 2 signboards. We get a nice steamy lore dump that is basically the premise of Shrek 1 before Kieran suggests stepping into the Ogre's den. Knowing Ash and his 2 brain cells, he would absolutely march headfirst into danger, so we head up the mountain with our new friend. To draw out the Ogre, maybe we need to battle. No, not happening. Oh, that's fine. I like the Pokemon anime better now without you in it anyway. What did you say? I'll kill you! We step up to face Kieran, and since he's only got 3 Pokemon, under my rules, I have to bench someone to make it a fair fight. And looking at our team, I think the choice is pretty obvious. So, after leaving Corphish with Professor Oak, it's time for some revenge on Kieran. He leads with Ferret, who looks so cute that I want to wear it like a scarf. We open with a Heracross, who I do not want to wear, as a Mega Horn hits Ferret hard. But it's not enough for the KO, so Heracross has to tank a big double edge before finishing off the furry. We have the early lead, but Young Mega gets an instant trade, as a quad-effective air cutter sends Heracross to the Shadow Realm. Next, I send in my Rocky Doggy, but Kieran fires off a massive super effective Giga Drain, and our puppy just holds on. This clutch means we can respond with a Stone Edge, swatting that bug out of the sky. But we're not out of the woods yet, as his Poliwhirl uses Belly Drum, turning it into an absolute monster. Our Stone Edge just isn't enough for the KO, with Rockruff immediately falling on the next turn. We were down to only our Pikachu. With Poliwhirl being faster than us, as well as having a maximized attack, we were surely done for. Except I have a plan, because we have Quick Attack. This lets us move first, and thankfully, this is just enough to finish off Poliwhirl, and with that, we had beaten Kieran, and Ash had finally gotten his first win in Kitakami. We step into the Ogre's den, and wow, I've seen prison cells more spacious than this. On our way out, Kieran invites us to the Mask Festival. So, after skydiving our way back into the village, we're given some new clothes by Kieran's grandma, but these are going straight into the trash. Ash has been wearing some variation of the same fit for 20 years now, and that's not gonna change. Looks like there's only 2 masks in the shed. Looks like you'll just have to do without a mask. Hey Ash? Oh, it's fine. I brought my own mask anyway. Naturally, Carmine is jealous of how cool Ash's mask is and forces us into a battle. We may have lost last time, but now things are different. Carmine leads with Morpeko, a disgusting attempt at stealing the identity of our ketchup-loving mascot. I lead with Heracross, who instantly takes huge damage from Aura Wheel. My Fury attack, on the other hand, is absolutely pathetic. However, Morpeko graciously spares us, opting to paralyze Heracross with Thunder Wave, giving our Beetle a chance to demolish the angry rat with a super effective Mega Horn. We were ahead, and Ash had the advantage, but this is where the good times end, because Carmine's Mightyena is next, and it immediately KOs Heracross with Fire Fang. And now we've only got these 3 left. Corphish does manage to land 1 Crab Hammer, but is crunched into oblivion, and Ash's beloved Pikachu also suffers the same treatment. And now it was all down to Rockruff. Could our little puppy clutch up and— oh, it's dead. How does this keep happening to me? That was another soul-crushing defeat, and this time we actually need to win the fight. It was very clear that this quartet just wasn't going to cut it. To beat Carmine, we're gonna need to find some new Pokemon, and I have 2 perfect contenders in mind. So, after traversing the entire map, I found our first champion, Noibat. And just look at this adorable face. How could you possibly say no to this guy? But our adorable bat was about to get an upgrade, because after feeding it some XP, our little bat can stay just below the level cap, evolving into this almighty Noivern. And Ash's Noivern has some solid moves that are going to be really helpful in Kitakami. Nearby, we can also find our next Pokemon, Primeape. And just look at that big bulging vein. This guy is furious. We catch the angry pig monkey, and as much as I love Ash's champion fighter and resident hat thief, this thing has some garbage moves. Now I can see why Ash sentenced this guy to decades of training. I really wish my monkey was dead like this one. Anyway, with an updated roster of Pokemon and the return of Ash's usual clothes, we stepped up to Carmine for a rematch. This time, I lead with Primeape, who looks really spiky for some reason. We're paralyzed paralyzed by Thunderwave on turn 1 before a Seismic Toss does decent damage to Morpeko. But this is where it all goes wrong, because on the next turn, our pig is fully paralyzed, allowing Morpeko to land 2 Aura Wheels, which knocks out the champ. So I bring in Heracross next and get hit by Thunderwave. And of course, I'm unable to move. After an Aura Wheel does huge damage on the next turn, this time I'm not paralyzed, but miss my attack. Are you kidding me? Why does RNGesus hate me? On the next turn, I finally land a super effective Mega Horn to murder the imposter mouse. However, this was looking ominous as Mightyena quickly finishes Heracross with Fire Fang before also eliminating Pikachu with Crunch. It was down to a 3v1. We needed a hero. We needed the Batman. Noivern can finish off Mightyena with 2 acrobatics, however, we take some big damage in the process. This brings out the grassy ghost, Sinistcha. So our speedy dragon fires off another acrobatics, but can't get the kill. Carmine then lands a Stun Spore, which is disastrous. This means on the next turn, Noivern is slower, and the teacup hits a Shadow Ball, putting Noivern on the brink of death. Thankfully though, we fight through the paralysis and finish the job on Sinistcha. But Carmine still has her Swadloon. However, this little guy has a 4x Sphere of Flying. We just need Noivern to break through the paralysis, and it does! With one final acrobatics destroying Swadloon in a single shot, we get an insanely clutch win over Carmine. Ash's win count had doubled, although we had to work ridiculously hard to get both of our wins so far. The siblings invite us to check out the festival, but we have some serious business to take care of, because now it's nighttime, and this is our only chance to catch 3 very important Pokemon, one of which I am dreading. Our first new addition is this pretty in pink Gligar, and this little guy is adorable. But he's about to get an upgrade, because by giving it this Razor Fang I found, we can evolve it into Gliscor. This Sinnoh Scorpion is one of my favorite Pokemon, and it's a perfect goofy duo for Ash and his 2 brain cells. Ash's Gliscor doesn't get any ground or flying moves, but it's still a powerhouse that I'm glad to have on the roster. Next up, it's spooky season, as over in the Mossvale Confluence, we can find Gengar. A fire-type adopted son at heart, Ash's Gengar is insanely powerful, and I mean, just look at these moves. Its coverage is absolutely insane. But as glad as I am to have Gengar, the next Pokemon horrifies me, because we have to hunt for Ash's Noctowl. But he doesn't have just any old Noctowl, this man has a shiny Noctowl. And so, under my rules, I have to hunt for my very own shiny Noctowl if I want to complete this challenge. Fine. Start the timer. First, I made this bland-looking tofu sandwich, as this increases the spawn rate of normal-type Pokemon, meaning that now only these lovely owls will spawn in. And now, all I could do was grind. I ran around for ages and must have seen over 1,000 of these things. Time kept on burning away until I finally found a shiny owl. It's so sparkly. Except, here's the thing. Ash never had a Hoot, only a Noctowl. So this little guy is worthless. Primate, Seismic toss this bird into the trash. Can we get some Fs in the comments for my fallen, shiny bird? Without any other option, I desperately continued hunting, even finding another shiny Hoot who I brutally took out my anger on. But eventually, after several hours, I finally found Noctowl. It's so golden and gorgeous. Despite its best efforts to avoid being caught, we subdued the giant bird, completing one of the hardest entries in the entire Ash Dex. Its moveset is pretty meh, but I'm just glad to be done with shiny hunting. With our 3 nocturnal Pokemon secured, next we move on to Kitakami Hall, where the Mask Festival has begun. There's a trick to making grown-ups do what you want. It's called weaponized cuteness. Oh, really? Let me try. Hey, subscribe to my channel. Look at all these cute things. How could you possibly say no to all this weaponized cuteness? After doing some Ogre blasting, we discovered this mysterious looking Pokemon. And look, it's no secret that Ash has a way with women, and this is just another example as Ogerpon falls for us right away. The Ogre flees, and we pick up its mask before being interrupted by Kieran. What are you guys doing over here? We're just talking about how my Pikachu could beat up Captain Pikachu in a fist fight. Oh, well, obviously Captain Pikachu would win easily. What? Oh, I'm gonna make you regret saying that. Turns out Kieran loves the Ogre, which is perfect for my revenge plot. Carmine's grandpa gives us a big lore dump about the truth behind Ogerpon, but let's be honest, Ash will probably forget about this within 5 minutes. Now we're bound for the 3rd signboard, and oh my god, the owls are still haunting me! Help! On my way, I also found this Thunderstone, which is disgusting. You keep that thing far away from my Pikachu. Once arriving at the sign, we challenge Kieran to a battle to teach this hater a lesson. He leads with Yanma, and I haven't forgotten how this guy tortured my Corphish. So this time, I hit him with an Uno reverse card as a Stone Edge from Gliscor decimates the flying bug. This brings in Poliwrath, and this dude is a menace. My Stone Edge is pathetic against the frog, and Hydro Pump puts our Gliscor on the brink of death before falling on the very next turn. But since Kieran has a water type out, now is the perfect time for Pikachu to come in and... never mind, I guess. We were down to a 2v3, but this is where our sparkly bird makes its debut. After tanking a Brick Break, an Air Slash from our shiny owl blows Poliwrath right into its grave. Next is Kieran's Spirit, but I mean, look at this thing. What could it possibly even do to... Oh, well, this is awkward. Now we were down to only Heracross and on the brink of defeat. However, Kieran might actually be dumber than Ash, which I didn't even think was possible, because this man just uses Tidy Up with his Spirit to boost its stats instead of attacking, and this gives Heracross free real estate to impale the fluffy furry with 2 attacks. It was a 1v1 as Kieran sends in his super sweet Syrup Apple, and I just know that Heracross was licking his lips in this moment. A super effective Mega Horn immediately has the apple fighting for its life. You got this, Dipplin. Get them all covered in syrup. Okay, I'm just going to ignore that. After Heracross gets all sticky, we whip out the Horn Attack, impaling that apple for a fatal blow, giving Ash yet another clutch win thanks to our plot armor. And Kieran is absolutely devastated, which makes my heart warm. Yeah, well, your Pikachu still sucks. Our next quest is to repair the Teal Mask, so we ride our bike up the mountain before reaching this stunning and beautiful crystal pool. After Carmine tries to push us into the lake, we're attacked by the boss Milotic. It doesn't sound so good. Anyway, this is kind of a cool moment as Pikachu teams up with fake Pikachu at home as an onslaught of electricity from our 2 yellow mice quickly take care of business. We pick up the crystals and oh my god, where did you come from? I could smell Terra crystals. Okay, weird. What else have you been? Just leave me alone with the rocks. After once again skydiving back into town, we learn that Kieran has stolen the mask and he's gone too far this time. But before we hunt him down, my first priority is expanding Ash's harem as we take on the Bloodmoon quest, and this one terrifies me. First, we have to take on Perrin in a 2v2 battle. She leads with Noctowl, and wow, imagine your Noctowl not being shiny. What a loser. This battle is straightforward as 2 Stone Edges from Gliscor shoots her pathetic, non-shiny Noctowl out of the sky, and then, against Leafeon, I show Perrin what a real Noctowl can do as 2 Air Slashes finish it off, giving Ash the win. But that's not what I'm worried about. For now, we witness Perrin take some glamorous shots of Poliwhirl, and damn, she really caught his good side, huh? After working the old Ash charm, we wait in the tent with Perrin before surveying the local area. This minigame is so cute and wholesome, and oh my god, what on earth is that? We had to take on Bloodmoon Ursaluna in a boss fight, and this thing is insane. I'm not gonna lie, this was brutal. The bear proceeded to demolish my entire team one after another. This was my most humiliating loss yet. It honestly wasn't even close. This is basically what happened for the whole duration of the fight. With another L to Ash's name, clearly we needed a new plan. So it was time to hunt for more Pokemon. And first up is Scarlet. After catching the cute bird, we can immediately evolve it all the way into Staraptor. This is an incredibly useful Pokemon, especially with access to moves like these. Next, after talking to Jacques, he takes us on a picnic, and I find it very insulting that his tablecloth has a disgusting imposter Pikachu on it. But I'll let it slide as the big man gives us an egg. And after running around like a madman, our egg hatches into Chimchar. Even to this day, his backstory still inspires some Paul-fueled rage inside of me. Anyway, just like Starly, we instantly evolve our Chimchar into its final stage, Infernape, an incredibly terrifying member of Ash's team who also gives us some nice fire coverage. So, armed with our new Sinnoh duo and an upgraded team, I return to the Bloodmoon Bear with a fresh strategy. Hey, wait, maybe that's not a Bloodmoon. Maybe it's just a bald spot. Anyway, this time I lead with Noivern, and after confusing the big bear, I just wait until it eventually offs my bat with its signature Bloodmoon attack. This is important as Ursaluna can't use Bloodmoon on 2 consecutive turns. And since the Gliscor I send in next is a flying type, we can't be hit by Earth Power either. This guarantees that we can use Screech on Ursaluna twice to severely lower its defense. And thanks to some confusion luck, I even managed a 3rd Screech, lowering its defense to -6. Gliscor does finally fall to a Bald Beam, but my god, he died a hero. And this is the perfect time to debut Staraptor. On this turn, we can't be hit by either of its attacks, freeing Staraptor to fire off 2 enormous close combats, pushing this nerfed bear to the absolute brink of death. Our bird falls, but never fear, because with Ursaluna this low, our Pikachu can take center stage and finish off the... Oh, never mind. Thankfully, our new Infernape is much more reliable, as a single muck punch to the gut finally finishes off the Bald Moon Bear. It may have taken us 2 tries, but Ash's team was really starting to come together. As a reward for completing her quest, Kieran generously gives us a Hisuian Growlithe, which we throw straight into the trash since it's not a Pokemon we can use. With that unbearable quest behind us, I rearranged my roster, and now it was time to confront the mask thief, Kieran. And this guy is having a meltdown, probably because of what Heracross did to his Dipplin. Anyway, we're forced into a battle for the mask, and while Kieran's team has gotten a lot stronger, so has ours. His Yanmega lead may have evolved, but after hitting a Bug Buzz, Gliscor can still swat that fly with a single Stone Edge. Once Poliwrath hits the field, I switch into our Staraptor, who can just survive 2 Hydro Pumps from the Fighting Frog before a second Aerial Ace finishes it off. This brings out Kieran's Gligar, so I send in my Gliscor. This is a real role reversal from the anime, where Ash's Gligar battled Paul's Gliscor. But since my Gliscor is already weak, I'm only able to land 1 Screech before our superior Scorpion falls. However, this defense drop allows Staraptor to re-emerge, as 1 Brave Bird wipes Gligar off the map, as Staraptor also falls to its own recoil. Next, Ash whips out the iconic ace, Pikachu, and we get an incredible matchup as Kieran sends in a very wet and very conductive bird. A single Thunderbolt fries that blue chicken straight onto the dinner table, and a few air slashes from our Golden Owl quickly take care of Dipplin. What can't you do? You're like the hero in a story. Yeah, Kieran, that's literally exactly what I am. And Kieran is not taking the loss well. Why? Why can't I be as good as you? Kid, I'm a 10-year-old with over 25 years of Pokemon battling experience. You never stood a chance. Now give me back the mask. Fine. And take back what you said about Pikachu? Never! Kieran's salty tears resurrect the loyal 3, Donkey Kong, Diddy Kong, and Birdie Kong. I began chasing them down, and Nurse Joy comments that I've been visiting her a lot. Are you mocking me? Eventually, we find the criminal trio at Ogre Pond's den. Monkey Dory tries to put up a fight, but Gengar shadow balls that fool straight into the afterlife. Once our backup arrives, we have the greedy trio cornered, and we just let them escape. Yep, very on-brand Ash Ketchum behavior. Next, we have to hunt down the loyal 3, and on the way, I found our next Pokemon, Snorunt, Ash's cold little ice type, who we immediately evolve into Glalie as Ogre Pond proudly watches on. With Ash's lovable Ice Ball now on the team, it was time to challenge the loyal 3 in boss fights. First is Pheasantipity, and since it's obviously a bird, I lead with our new Glalie, who can do enormous damage and... Wait, it's not a flying type, but it's literally flying! While the flying, non-flying type does KO a few of our Pokemon, thankfully, Infernape can Flare Blitz to cook that bird for the KO. And while I do like how Onky Donkey Kong is just vibing out over there, our Gengar can solo the big dog with some quad-effective Psychics. Monkey Dory returns, but gets another fat L at the hands of Gengar, with our Shadow Balls bringing the giant monkey back down to size. With all 3 masks returned to Ogerpon, we return to the village, where the caretaker apologizes. Now everyone knows the truth, that Ogerpon is adorable and harmless, despite single-handedly murdering 3 Pokemon. Regardless, the day is saved. So we escort Ogerpon back to its cave. But after Kieran sees that Ogerpon wants to join Ash's team, the Ogre lover loses his mind. You know what, Ash? The Pokemon anime got better after you left. Excuse me? And your Pikachu isn't even half the mouse that Captain Pikachu is? Oh, you've really gone too far this time, time, kid. To settle this once and for all, we have to take on Kieran's full team of 6 powerful Pokemon. He opens with Shiftry, so I go with Ash's Blazing Ape. Thanks to its Focus Sash, Shiftry does survive a super effective flamethrower, allowing it to land a Leaf Blade for big damage. However, another flamethrower on the following turn burns the wooden Pokemon to a crisp. After also landing a flamethrower onto Gliscor, Kieran evens the score as Earthquake ends Infernape. We then trade Pokemon as Glalie finishes Gliscor with Ice Beam before Poliwrath crushes Glalie into ice cubes with a single close combat. Now it was once again Pikachu's time to shine as a big, super effective Thunderbolt can... Oh, come on! Seriously, Pikachu? Despite our early lead, the fight was now back to an even 3-on-3. However, Ash's Noivern is a beast, as a single Acrobatics can finish off Poliwrath, as well as deal big damage to the Dipplin that follows. But Dipplin then charges up its powerful signature move and... yeah, I don't know what I expected from an apple on a stick. A few more Acrobatics finish off Dipplin, and Noivern even manages to break Probopass's Sturdy. It does fall to a Rock Gem, but my god, Noivern is an absolute hero. From here, Staraptor's airspace is clear as one final quad-effective close combat annihilates the big-nosed bandit, giving Ash the win over Kieran. Now say you're sorry and eat the dirt. With the Pikachu hater dealt with, now it was time to face Ogerpon. And while we had a rocky start to this challenge, we've got some real momentum with our last few wins. So I was feeling very confident. What a fool I was. Don't let that cute face trick you. This thing is a demon. I got utterly destroyed. This battle is so tough. It proceeded to wipe through my entire team. I couldn't even get past its second phase, and it still has 2 more after that. Once again, Ash was crushed. Clearly, I needed a new plan. So I decided to first focus on our other goal of completing the Ash Dex. The first Pokemon I hunted down was Gibble. It's very cute and loves to bite people, but it's not going to be very helpful since it can't evolve. And since Apom is an unobtainable Virgin exclusive, that leaves us with only 3 more Pokemon to hunt. First, in the Fellhorn Gorge, we can find ourselves a Goomy, and after waiting an eternity for some rain, we can evolve the little goo ball into Ash's Goodra. Honestly, this Pokemon is just so adorable. And while searching for our next Pokemon, I found something crazy. A shiny Rockruff. This is awesome and so damn pretty. But Ash's Rockruff isn't shiny, so... yeah, I killed it. Can we please get some Fs in the chat for all the shinies I've had to slaughter in Kitakami? Moving on, next, I found this adorable little Riolu and... never mind. Like I was saying, I found this adorable Riolu, who I quickly caught. And after shoving 6 billion berries down its throat, Riolu evolves into Ash's almighty Lucario. One of Ash's coolest Pokemon. It's just a shame that I can only get fighting-type moves on this thing. Now there was only 1 Pokemon left, so I charged into the Timeless Woods, where we can find... Snorlax! I told you I'd be back. We quickly catch the slumbering bear, and this guy is one of the all-time GOATs. It's definitely one of my favorites. With that, we had completed our first goal, catching all of Ash's available Pokemon in Kitakami. And now that we had all of Ash's Pokemon, I assembled a new team of Pokemon before returning to Ogerpon's den for a rematch with the deadly Ogre. But very quickly, this was looking rough as the Fire Phase still manages to crush both my Snorlax as well as Noivern. However, this is where Staraptor went God mode. An Aerial Ace quickly finishes the first phase before Ogerpon gets a second wind and returns with its Water Mask. A Brave Bird from Staraptor does huge damage as Ogerpon just sets up grassy terrain. So this clears us for 1 more Brave Bird, which just finishes the second phase. But our bird isn't done yet. Against the Rock phase, Staraptor can land 1 final close combat for enormous damage before finally falling. This bird is an absolute beast. From here, the rest of the fight is clean, with Lucario finishing the Rock phase with Aura Sphere and our gooey Goodra crushing the final phase with some ice-cold Ice Beams. Now Ogerpon was defeated, and we're forced into catching it. But since Ash never had an Ogerpon, I immediately released the Ogre back into the wild. After gladly seeing the Pikachu hater run off in tears, Carmine wants 1 final battle with Ash. Anyway, how's Ogerpon doing? Could you let me have a battle with Ogerpon? Yeah, about that. Thankfully, we're not soft-locked here, as Carmine still wants to battle. But this fight was very straightforward. It can pretty much be summarized memorized as my Snorlax sitting on Morpeko, turning it into a mousy pancake. After unleashing Infernape, we incinerate Carmine's last two grass types, giving Ash an easy win. Afterwards, we learn that our new friends need to return to their blueberry farm. Carmine gives us a heartfelt goodbye, and as for Kieran, I hate Ash Ketchum, I hate his Pikachu, and I especially hate those little squiggles under his eyes. That concludes the main story, but we aren't done yet, because the hardest battles of the DLC still remains. The Kitakami Ogre Clan. These guys have competitive teams, fully equipped with competitive movesets and held items. First, we have to take on 7 of the clan members in a 4v4 battle, each having their own unique specialty. Some of these battles are straightforward, like Gengar decimating the fairy trainer with sludge bombs, or Lucario spamming aura spheres against the normal trainer. And after unleashing Ash's collection of birds onto the fighting type trainer, we took on this guy, and I have to talk about this, because guess who's back? Corphish, baby! Despite getting clapped in the early game, our crustacean went huge here, as 2 crab hammers are just enough to finish off the lead Carbink, and then he sends in Golem, who gets absolutely rocked by a quad-effective crab hammer, giving Corphish another KO. This man demands your respect. With Corphish's help, we could clean up that battle, as well as the other few clan members without too much trouble. But that was just an appetizer, as now we're clear to take on the clan boss. This fight is insane. He's got a powerful team of 5 with competitive moves and held items. So I assembled my best roster of Pokemon before donning a Pikachu mask in true Ash Ketchum fashion. This was our final test, a showdown between 2 masked trainers. Muramasa leads with a scary Gengar, so I go with Ash's floating Ice Ball. Getting burned on turn 1 isn't a big deal, as Glalie job here is to land Icy Wind, breaking Gengar's Focus Sash and lowering its speed. His Gengar also sets up Toxic Spikes before slaying Glalie with Hex. However, this is perfect, as now I can bring in my Gengar, removing the Toxic Spikes. And thanks to that speed drop, we outspeed and bust the opposing Ghost with Shadow Ball. Next, Muramasa sends in his ace, King Gambit. I respond by switching into Staraptor, but even after an Intimidate drop, our Staraptor still dies to a Kowtow Cleave and Sucker Punch combo. We're behind in Pokemon, but I need to get rid of this thing. So I send in Infernape next, as Flare Blitz melts down that Steel type in one shot. However, the boss responds with Mr. Craw, who immediately trades out Infernape with a priority Aqua Jet. We were down to only 2 Pokemon, but we still have our trusty Pikachu. And Ash's ace finally pulls through for us as Thunderbolt crushes the opposing Lobster. Even though it started raining, Pikachu somehow misses a Thunder before falling to a single Wood Hammer. And now, it was all down to Ash's Gengar. It may be a 1v2, but this guy is a monster. A single Shadow Ball wipes Trevenant off the map, and Muramasa was on his final Pokemon. But Dusclops can't keep up, as 2 more Shadow Balls from Gengar pick up a clean KO. With that, the Kitakami Ogre Clan had been defeated, and Ash Ketchum had conquered all of the Teal Mask DLC. Jump into this video next for more Pokemon content, and let me know in the comments which of Ash's Pokemon is your favorite. Take care, and I'll see you in the next video.